Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Imam Bagas Adriyano. I'm a student of Informatika at campus Kramat 98 and my student ID is 152505335. In this video, I will present two topics. The first one is my opinion about smoking in campus area and the second one is the usage of model in request words. So let's begin with the first topic. Some people think smoking is just a normal habit. But what if it happens in our campus environment? Let's hear what students have to say. What do students think about smoking in campus area? Uh, I don't think it's appropriate. Campus is a place to study, right? Not to smoke. It's fine if there's a smoking area, but people shouldn't smoke everywhere. I don't smoke, but I still get secondhand smoke when I sit near smokers. It's really annoying. So I totally agree that campus should be smoke free. Clean air makes studying so much better. From all those opinions, most students agree that smoking on campus should be avoided. Not because it is a strict rule, but because we all want a healthy and comfortable learning environment. For me personally, smoking on campus isn't just about breaking a rule. It's about respect. Respect for your friends, for the air we share, and for the place we grow and learn. A campus will be a space for ideas, not smoke. Let's start from ourselves and keep our campus smoke free. Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Imam Bagas. Today I'm going to present about the usage of modal in request word. This topic is about how we can use modal verbs to make our sentence sound more polite when asking for something. Okay, here's my PowerPoint about the usage of modal in request word. And so let me begin the presentation. Introduction. In communication, being polite is essential or is really important. The way we ask for something shows how respectful we are. English uses modal verbs to make requests sound polite and natural. How politeness changes meaning. Let's take a look at these two examples. Give me your notes. Could you please share your notes with me? See the difference? One sounds polite, the other sounds rude. The meaning is similar, but the second one way more polite, right? Purpose. The purpose of this presentation is simple, to help us understand how to use modal verbs when making polite requests in English. What will we learn today? By the end of this presentation, you will understand what modal verbs are, how to use them to make polite requests, the difference between can, could, will, and would, how to sound more polite in conversation. Definition of modal verbs. So, what exactly are modal verbs? Modal verbs are helping verbs that express or show things like ability, permission, or politeness. They make our sentence sound softer and more respectful. For more example, like before, close the door. Could you close the door, please? Could you choose between these two? Which one is more softer and more respectful? Yep, that's correct. The second one is softer and more respectful. It has the same meaning again, but is much more polite and friendly. Function of modal verbs. Modal verbs actually have many functions. For example, we can use them to talk about ability, can, could, for permission, may and can, and possibility, might, could, and the last one, request or offers, using can, could, will, and would. Common modal verbs. Here's a quick table shows some common modal verbs and how they use. It had three functions, and it was ability, permission, request. So the first one, function ability. It had modal verbs can and could. And the example, I can swim or I could swim. Next one, function permission. It had may and can. Example, may I come in? Can I come in? Last one, request. And it had can, could, will, and would. Can you help me? Could you help me? Will you help me? Would you help me? Notice how the same model can have different meanings depending on the situation. Models for making requests. Modal verbs are very useful because they help us ask for something politely. The most common ones are can, used in casual or friendly situations. Could, more polite and formal than can. And this one, will, shows willingness or agreement. Last one, would, the most polite and soft form. Each of these models can change the tone and formality of your request. So it's important to choose the right one depending on who you're talking to. Why use modal verbs for requests? So why should we care about using modal verbs correctly? Because they help us show respect of, to avoid sounding rude, like the example I explained before, and make our communication smoother and natural. Using can for requests. Used in informal or friendly situations. Simple, direct, but not always polite in formal contexts. For example, can you help me with this report? Can I borrow your notebook? It's direct and friendly, but not the best choice for a formal situation. Using could for requests sounds more polite and indirect than can, suitable for talking to teachers or strangers. For example, could you send me the file, please? Could I ask you a question? This is better when We're talking to teachers, strangers, or in polite situations. Using will for requests, often used to invite or ask someone to do something in a natural way. For example, will you join us for lunch? Will you please turn off the lights? It sounds kind and positive, but not too formal. Using would for requests, the most polite and indirect form, shows high respect and formality. For example, would you help me with this assignment? Would you mind closing the window? This one shows high respect, perfect for talking to teachers, superiors, or in business contexts. Would you mind better? Would you mind? Is a very polite way to ask to read or refuse something, followed by verb plus ing, showing respect and a soft tone suitable for formal situation. Let's take a look the structure on green label. Would you mind plus verb ing? Would you mind plus verb ing? For the example, would you mind helping me? Would you mind and verb help in helping? Would you mind helping me? And for the negative, would you mind not plus verb in? Would you mind not plus verb in? For the example, would you mind not smoking here? Would you mind not verb smoke? Would you mind not smoking here? Comparison of politeness. Here we can see how different modal verbs shows different level of politeness. For example, can sounds more informal or friendly. For example, can you pass me the salt? Next, could. Could is more polite or formal. As in example, could you open the window, please? Next one, we had will. Will, which is neutral but still polite. For example, will you wait a minute, please? And finally, would. Would. This one is very polite and soft, such as, would you mind waiting here? Comparison for context. So context really matters. When talking to friends, can you help me? Is fine. But with a teacher, could you help me? Sounds better. And with your boss, would you mind helping me? See, the more polite the situation, the softer your words should be. Politeness strategies. To sound polite, don't just rely on the modal verbs. Always use please when asking for help. Second, use a gentle tone voice. Keep your tone soft. And third, avoid sounding demanding, like you're giving an order. Cultural context. In English-speaking cultures, politeness is highly valued. The way you press a request can change or affect how people see you or how people perceive your attitude. Common mistake to avoid. A real mistake to avoid using can in formal context. It sounds too direct. Second one, forgetting please or using an imperative tone, like close the door. Last one, mixing tenses incorrectly. Of course, grammar mistakes, like the examples, did you can, that's incorrect. So, to summarize everything we've learned today, modal verbs are very helpful. When we want to ask for something politely, the key idea is the more indirect or softer your modal verb is, the more polite you sound. For example, would you mind helping me? Is much more formal than can you help me? And remember, context really matters. The way we talk to a friend, a teacher, or a boss will be different. Using modal verb properly help us show respect and confidence at the same time. That's all for my presentation about the uses of modal in request words. I hope this material help us understand how small words like can, could, will, and would can really change the tone of our sentence. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.